Welcome back to BuzzOwl 9, your source for commentary on society, sports, and the stars. The courtroom was steeped in tension as Lori Vallow Daybell, infamously known as the Doomsday Mom, faced another trial, this time accused of orchestrating the elimination of her fourth husband, Charles Vallow. After 3 hours of deliberation, the jury returned a verdict, guilty. Prosecutors presented a chilling narrative, arguing that Lori, alongside her brother Alex Cox, had devised Charles' execution to claim his life insurance benefits and remove obstacles to her marriage with Chad Daybell, an Idaho-based author immersed in apocalyptic prophecies. Acting as her own legal representative, Lori declined to call witnesses or submit evidence in her defense. Instead, she insisted that Charles' passing was a family tragedy rather than a criminal act. However, the jury remained unconvinced. On April 22, 2025, she was convicted of conspiracy to commit elimination, adding yet another life sentence to the 3 consecutive terms she is already serving in Idaho for the execution of her children, Tylee Ryan and J.J. Vallow, along with her then-boyfriend's wife, Tammy Daybell. Jurors were stunned to discover Lori's prior convictions only after the trial had concluded. Juror number 8, Tass Reed Tucker, described Lori's smirks and dismissive gestures throughout the proceedings as unsettling, emphasizing that she did not take the trial seriously. Another juror, Victoria Lewis, initially questioned Lori's guilt but was ultimately persuaded by incriminating text messages, which suggested that Lori had orchestrated Charles' elimination long before it happened. The trial dominated headlines, with media outlets dissecting Lori's bizarre courtroom demeanor and evident lack of remorse. Fox 10 Phoenix reported that she frequently laughed and smiled throughout the proceedings, appearing indifferent to the gravity of the accusations. Meanwhile, CBS News highlighted the prosecution's claim that Lori had exploited religious doctrine to rationalize execution, allegedly convincing her followers that Charles had been possessed by a zombie. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to join the conversation. In March 2025, Lori granted a jailhouse interview to veteran journalist Keith Morrison on Dateline. This was her first televised discussion since being convicted, and it was nothing short of eerie. She set a confrontational tone from the outset, winking at the camera upon entering the interview room. Throughout the conversation, she challenged Morrison, repeatedly insisting that he get his facts straight and asserting that she and Chad Daybell would eventually be exonerated. She jumped between topics erratically, refusing to directly address the elimination of her children, instead claiming she had received divine visions affirming her innocence. Morrison later described the interview as one of the most bizarre encounters of his career, noting that Lori seemed more focused on steering the narrative than providing answers. Lori's sentencing won't take place immediately. She has requested that it be postponed until after her upcoming trial in June, where she faces charges of conspiring to execute her niece's ex-husband, Brandon Boudreaux. For now, she remains incarcerated, awaiting her fate. Meanwhile, her former husband, Chad Daybell, has already been sentenced to execution for his role in the elimination of Lori's children and his first wife, Tammy. Comparing Lori Vallow Daybell and Susan Smith, 2 high-profile cases. The case of Lori Vallow Daybell bears eerie similarities to the infamous trial of Susan Smith in 1995. Like Lori, Susan's crimes shocked the nation, drawing intense media scrutiny and sparking debates about motive, manipulation, and maternal betrayal. Susan Smith, a South Carolina mother, initially made national headlines by claiming that her 2 young sons had been abducted by a carjacker. For 9 days, she tearfully pleaded for their safe return, garnering widespread sympathy. However, her deception soon unraveled. She ultimately confessed to deliberately driving her vehicle into a lake, causing the passing of her children. Her motive: she sought to pursue a romantic relationship with a man who did not want children, a chilling parallel to Lori's desire to be with Chad Daybell, which led to the elimination of multiple family members. Both women exhibited disturbing courtroom behavior, much like Lori's smug smiles and dismissive gestures. Susan's emotional outbursts and sudden shifts in demeanor raised suspicions about her sincerity. Jurors in both cases struggled to comprehend how a mother could betray her own children so ruthlessly. Religious manipulation also played a significant role in Lori's case. She reportedly convinced followers that her children were possessed, using warped theological beliefs to justify their execution. In contrast, Susan's motivations stemmed more from personal desire than religious ideology. Yet both cases demonstrated a horrifying disregard for innocent life in pursuit of selfish ambitions. Each trial captivated the public, sparking discussions on maternal instinct, psychological instability, and cold-blooded calculation. While Susan was sentenced to life in prison for her crimes, Lori continues to face additional charges that could further extend her incarceration or lead to more severe consequences. What are your thoughts on the shocking similarities between these two high-profile cases? Do they reveal something deeper about human psychology and manipulation? Or are they chilling exceptions to the norm?